Chapter 6. Due to Zhu Yincheng's excellent state, the ad only took a day to complete filming. Orlando was personally responsible for editing. When he walked out of the studio, his face was very flushed, his eyes in a trance, like he had just drank a bottle of strong wine. "Boss, this is a sample. Take a look first. I have a feeling that this perfume will be really popular in Sea Country. No, in the world. I don't plan to refilm for the European commercials. I'll just use this. You can go about your business. I'll watch it later." Kawamukun was thumbing through a document, not even lifting his head. Orlando had originally wanted to appreciate his amazed expression. Seeing him completely indifferent, he had no choice but to leave in disappointment. After the man left, Kawamukun immediately got up and looked at the office door, locked the office door, took off his coat and loosened his tie. He poured himself a glass of red wine and inserted a disc into the computer. A female singer's ambiguous tone slowly flowed out. "Close your eyes. Have no fear. The monster's gone. He's on the run, and your mummy's here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful boy. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Beautiful boy. Before you go to sleep, say a little prayer. Every day, in every way, it's getting better and better. Beautiful, 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 beautiful boy. Beautiful, 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 beautiful boy." John Lennon's Beautiful Boy. The story mentions a female voice, so a cover is probably playing. Kawamukun's nonchalant expression gradually became more focused and passionate. When he was in the studio, he was sitting to the side, so his view was limited. But this commercial was taken from an overhead view. The visual effect the switched perspective brought out was shocking. The young man's eyes were misty, cheeks flushed red, because he was drunk. His lips were somewhat dry. He frowned in discomfort, then stuck out the tip of his tongue to lick at it, and the dryness turned tender and plump. But this completely couldn't solve his thirst, so he grabbed a few petals and squeezed, sucking on the bright red flower juice. When he ate his fill, he gave a satisfied sigh and suddenly spit out a sweet and fragrant. Then he randomly wiped the flower juice on his fair chest. He was the most beautiful existence to the eyes. Even the colorful petals paled in comparison to his brilliance. In the series of beautiful, 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 beautiful boy, the words brimming with deep love, he slowly closed his eyes, a teardrop hanging on his curled, thick eyelashes, falling asleep serene. The scene gradually blurred, glittering golden Gothic font surfaced on the screen. Extravagant, the taste of magic. The whole commercial didn't have a single shot related to the perfume, but it could make people smell the aroma of rot. The smell of flower bloomed to the end of its life. It was a fascinating ad. Kawamukun had put his glass of wine to the side earlier, staring fixatedly at the screen. 60 seconds was the longest allowed advertising time, but he felt it was too short. In only a blink of an eye, the young boy, full of devilish charm, disappeared. He hurriedly pressed the replay button, imagining the young man's small, dark red mouth being sucked by him, imagining the young man's body being caressed by him, imagining the young man crying for mercy under his body, his eyelashes stained in crystal tears. Like magic, he outlined scenes of the two's joyous love in his mind. Even without real touch, he unexpectedly reached the ultimate enjoyment of these scenes. Shit. When he returned to reality, he stared at his moist crotch, his face extremely gloomy. He quickly walked into the lounge to take a cold shower as he draped on his bathrobe. He called Yumelian. Zhu Sheng had been waiting for Aya to send money to his account. He'd never been a short on money type. In this current situation, where he had to calculate with which dish balanced cheapness and quality whenever he ate, he was really at a loss. He waited for nearly 7 or 8 days. During this period, he had to borrow money from Fang Yudan. If Jihan Yu gave him one more mocking look, he wouldn't survive it. He called Yu Meilian to inquire. I don't know. Call Mr. Cao about it. Yu Meilian gently pushed the matter away. Zhou Yunsheng was helpless. He had no choice but to call Mr. Kamo Kun's number. Kamo Kun picked up the phone very quickly. There was a ring on this end, then a man's deep, sexy voice came out at the end. Baby, have you thought about it? Zhou Yunsheng frowned, getting straight to the point. My payment, when will I get it? Baby, didn't you read the contract? The contract stipulates that the payment can only be transferred after the ad airs. Then, when is it airing? Currently, the sample is still on trial, but I hear that it violates the standards for broadcasting a bit, so it might get banned. What? Do you mean that if it gets banned, I won't get paid? What kind of unequal clause is that? Zhou Yunsheng's teeth itched in anger. If he had just played around freely and hadn't mixed in the entertainment industry, he wouldn't be in this situation. If he knew this would happen, he would have just sold some small software instead. Who cared if it was out of character or not? This is stipulated in the contract. Hearing the boy's suppressed angry breath, Kamo-kun felt his whole body heat up. He pulled at his tie and undid the first 2 buttons on his jacket, licking his lips and comfortingly saying, But don't be anxious, baby. We plan to release the commercial in the European and American markets. When it passes the reviews, we'll pay you. Then how long will it take to release in the European and US market? Zhou Yunsheng patiently questioned. This was, after all, his hard-earned money. How could he just let it go? I don't know yet. Wait and see. Baby, your bank account should be almost empty, right? I heard that every day in the school cafeteria you only eat egg drop soup and veggies. Baby, you have to take better care of yourself. When you come to Uncle will treat you to a big dinner. After dinner, you can have a pleasantly sweet lollipop. The man's deliberately lowered voice was extremely ambiguous. It made Zhou Yunsheng's ear turn red. Go fucking eat shit. He hung up the phone and ground his itchy teeth. What a big temper. Kamo-kun stared at his phone's screensaver. It was a picture of the misty-eyed drunken teenager, smiling ambitiously. When the teenager returned to his seat, his cheeks were flushed deep red, his eyes were bright, and his lips were still faintly pouting in unhappiness. It was very cute. Jihan Yu couldn't help but repeatedly glance at him, while fighting the urge to speak to him. Because of his pretend bankruptcy, the past Lin Chengzi's attitude towards Jihan Yu had changed. Although he never treated him badly, he had obviously lost interest in him very much. If it was someone else in this body who knew how the plot would unfold, they would certainly try all they could to appease Jihan Yu, so they could reverse the situation. But Zhou Yunsheng wasn't the type of person. He never liked to win by pampering the others, only focusing on face slapping. The two returned home with their own concerns filling their hearts. Fang Yudan had already finished dinner. Only God knew that the guy with 4 daily jobs still found time to cook all the meals. Only God knew how that guy with 4 daily jobs still found time to cook all the meals. Eat up while it's hot. The dishes are a little scarce today. Please put up with it. Wait a few days for my paycheck to come in. I'll buy a whole chicken and come back to improve our meals. He smiled as he scooped the the twosome rise. His strong, optimistic attitude endlessly touched Jihan-yu. He was anxious to tell him he didn't need to work anymore, that he could support him. But his goal of playing with Lin Chengze had not yet been reached. He had to hold back. Three people quietly ate their rice. Fang Yudan took out a bank book from his pocket and handed it over. Han Yu, this is the money I saved from work. You have to hold it for an emergency. Didn't you say that someone else could take away the factory if you didn't quickly invest? Jihan Yu froze for a second before reaching for the bank book. He looked at the lowly number, an amount he formerly wouldn't glance twice at. His eyes quietly reddening. Someone who would stick with him through thick and thin, stand by him when he was destitute and helpless. That was the type of relationship he always yearned for, and now he finally got it. Zhen Sheng glanced at the bank book, faintly opening. What use could 20,000 be? You should take it back. Of the two, one did his best to come to his help, and the other watched on with cold eyes, like a bystander. Their diametrically opposed attitudes made Jihan-Yu's loathing for Lin Chengze grow deeper, while his love for Fang Yudan intensified. But he wouldn't display his loathing for Lin Chengze in front of Fang Yudan. Instead, he echoed, Yes, Yudan. This little amount wouldn't be useful. Take it back. I'll think of another way. Fang Yudan firmly refused. The two pushed the bank book back and forth until Jihan-Yu provocatively caressed his palm. Then he compromised, blushing. He immediately lowered his head, not daring to look at his best friend. Zhen Sheng was still thinking that it wasn't any of his business and was about to head back to his room when he heard Fang Yudan open, stammering, Little Ze, why don't you put the house up for mortgage? This could certainly help Han Yu. Care to repeat that? Zhen Sheng almost wanted to dig out his own ears. This house was Lin Chengze's. Fang Yudan was just his roommate. What qualifications did he have to say these words? Holy Mother of God. Every fucking saint is someone else's mother. Fang Yudan couldn't lift his head under his hostile glare. Jihan-Yu immediately blocked his beloved person from his line of sight, echoing, Yes, little Ze, you can mortgage the house to the bank to help me get a loan. I'll pay you back as soon as my factory goes into production. He clearly knew that Lin Chengze would never agree. He insisted just to make things difficult for him. Antagonizing Lin Chengze had become the source of joy in his life. Sorry, this house can't be mortgaged. Zhen Sheng looked back and forth between the two people, enunciating each word. You both should know that this is the only relic my parents left me. So, I will never risk it. If you're short on money, I will think of a way. So don't worry anymore. I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. He nodded towards the two men, then slammed the door. Jihan-Yu thought his think of a way was just a bluff. He gave a mocking smile after he turned his back. In the final analysis, Lin Chengze and Jihan-Yu's dispute was like a dispute between a sugar daddy and their sugar baby. One wanted payment, one wanted sex. Every exchange was mutually beneficial. What right did Jihan-Yu have to take revenge against Lin Chengze? What right did he have to destroy Lin Chengze's life? Since he didn't have enough sense to stop before going too far, Zhen Sheng would let him profoundly understand what truly selfless love looked like. Perhaps at that time he won't be able to endure it. After pondering, his lips curved as he picked up his phone. Baby, have you come around? Kamo-kun answered the phone within a second. Yes, I've come around. You want... Before he could finish his sentence, he was interrupted by the man's deep voice. Come over, baby. Let's talk in person. How could we possibly discuss this kind of thing clearly over the phone? Okay, where do you want to meet? Jun Sheng's tone was decadent, but his expression was a bit wicked, winding and unwinding a lock of hair on his forehead. In my private club, I'll send a driver to pick you up. Good. Jun Sheng was about to hang up when the other end made a tough request. Baby, don't I get a goodbye kiss? Kiss your sister. Jun Sheng's temple twitched, but he still printed a kiss on the microphone. A man's muffled, happy laughter sounded in his ear. When he finally hung up, Jun Sheng casually picked out a white shirt and crew-neck sweater, covered with a down jacket, grabbed his phone and key, and headed out. No one was in the living room. Fang Yudan was in his bedroom, and Jihan Yu had followed him in. Only God knew what they were doing inside.